Hi everyone, thank you for joining me. I have an absolutely adorable card featuring Spellbinders 3D Vignette Hot Air Balloon. This fun-shaped card folds flat and is mail friendly. It may look a little complicated, but it is really easy to put together. I began by doing all of my die cutting, and admittedly there was a lot. Several clouds were cut to decorate the hot air balloon stand. I wanted them to have a little bit of shine, so I'm starting off by adding some Nouveau Glitter Drops White Blizzard just around the cloud profile. By the time I've put the hot air balloon and stand together, these clouds will be dry. The outline die for the hot air balloon has been cut 5 times out of navy cardstock. I'm going to decorate the balloon on either side of the vignette, so I've die cut the outline die with the detail die out of both blue and teal cardstock. After the outline portion of the die cut has been adhered to the navy base, I'm just going to use the middle section and interchange the colors between the 2 hot air balloons. We're ready to construct the stand. This stand will be put together with 2 die cuts with slots in them, those are the side pieces, and then 5 cross pieces. On either side of the cross piece there is this little hook. There's a tiny slit, so when it's placed through the slot on the side piece, you can pull it down and it will lock it into position. This ingenious mechanism will hold the hot air balloon up in its 3D position. It also collapses so that it folds down flat for mailing. For the 2 cross pieces that will be at the front and the back of the mechanism, the hooks are trimmed off. On either end of the side piece there are perforated lines that need to be folded. These tabs are folded in towards the wrong side, and then the cross piece is attached. And before I attach the other side of the cross piece, I'm just going to use my craft pick and lift up those tabs that were fed through the slots. A little bit of glue is added to add on the last cross piece, and then I'm going to put a dab of glue under each of those tabs. While adding in each of the cross pieces, it is important to make sure that they are lined up with one another. To get ready to put in the other side piece, the mechanism is opened up again. I make sure that the right side of the side piece die cut is facing outwards, and then go ahead and feed in those tabs in each of the slots. The mechanism is folded up flat, making sure that all of the cross pieces are aligned top and bottom. I add a touch of glue and then just lay down that top cross piece. The mechanism is opened up and then laid down flat on the other side. And again, I add just a little bit of glue and lay the last cross piece down. And like the other side, I'm going to add in just a touch of glue under those tabs and fold them down. This die set comes with 2 sentiments. They are negative die cuts, and I'm going to use both of them on one of the balloons. These dies will have to go through a couple of layers of cardstock in the center of the balloon, so I run it through my die cutter back and forth a couple of times. Die cuts that are on the 2 layers of cardstock need a little bit of extra persuasion to pop them out. I cut another balloon out of the navy cardstock, and then the one with the sentiment is adhered to it. The die that creates the cable attachment was die cut from gold glitter paper for the 2 balloons that will be exposed on either side of the vignette. The rest were die cut from the navy cardstock. To make sure that the cable attachment is going to be aligned from balloon to balloon, I first attach it to the balloon and then line up that balloon with another one that already has the cable attachment and make sure that they are aligned and make minor adjustments if needed. All of the baskets were die cut from navy cardstock. The two balloons that would be exposed on either side of the vignette, a pretty edging of gold glitter cardstock was added. After one hot air balloon is put together, it will be used to ensure that all the other hot air balloons will align to it. The two baskets are lined up and held in place with reverse tweezers. Glue is dotted on the ends of the cables. It is set in place, making sure that the balloons line up with one another. This process is followed for all of the balloons. After each balloon is attached, I give it a little bit of time to make sure that that glue is going to be set. To attach the hot air balloons to the stand, I take the first balloon and center it on the front cross piece and use reverse tweezers to hold it in place until the glue is completely dry. While the glue dries, the stand is in its flat position. To add the next balloon, the stand is opened up and it is flipped over. Glue is applied to the bottom of the basket and it is placed on the back of the next cross piece. After the balloons are aligned, reverse tweezers hold everything in place until the glue is dry. When attaching the balloons that were in the center of the stand, I use the reverse tweezers holding the basket onto the cross piece. This was much more effective. Like the first balloon, the last balloon will be placed on the outside of the cross piece. There is adhesive on the basket and I just hold it up against the balloon that is right behind it to line it up. The connector bar, a thin strip with a series of die-cut holes and two score lines on either end, is fed through the slot on the top of all the hot air balloons. The score line on one end is folded over and adhered in place. There's a die that cuts 4 circles with a hole in the middle. I die cut this twice, so I have 8 circles. These circles will act as spacers between the hot air balloons. A little bit of adhesive is added and I slip the circle on the end of my craft pick. Craft pick is poked into the hole on the connector bar and then the circle is slid into place. When all the spacers on one side are in place and I get to the end of the connector bar, I fold the score line and adhere it to the balloon. To give the connector bar some extra strength, I decided that I would add spacers to the other side. I can't get my fingers in there to press the circle in place, so after I've popped it on with my craft pick, then I use my reverse tweezers to just give it a press. Now that this mechanism is completely put together, I will flatten it out first one way and then the other way several times so that it functions smoothly. And now to continue adding the decorative pieces. I left the top one off because of the slot at the top of the balloon. When working with finer die cuts, I will tap off any excess adhesive to make sure it doesn't ooze out when I adhere it. Now to finish up with the final embellishments, I'm going to add some tassels alternating between the blue and the teal on both sides of the card. This die set comes with 2 styles of clouds. For the 2 outside cross pieces, I'll start off by adhering a cloud to the center. There are 2 profiles, one with clouds billowing up on the right-hand side and the other on the left-hand side. I put the high points of the clouds on the ends of the cross piece. These last two clouds need to be flush to the bottom of the cross piece. Two clouds are put on either end of each cross piece that is in the middle of the card. When I get to the last cross piece in the interior, I flip the card around and have those clouds facing out towards the back. I hope that makes sense. So when I look at the card from either side, I'm going to see the pretty decorative edging on the clouds. This card, front and back, is accented with Nouveau Crystal Drops Caribbean Ocean. There's room on the clouds to write a little message, and this card folds flat, ready for the mail. Spellbinders 3D Vignette Hot Air Balloon is a wonderful die set. It is surprisingly easy to put together. This card is sure to make anyone smile. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I appreciate your visit.